Lovely bit of chanting that, isn't it, if I say so myself. That's me 16 times over. It's nice, isn't it? It always relaxes me and stills me, that does. Except today, because I've been up all night for about, not quite in a row, but like 5 nights no sleep in 10, finishing off this music project, which I finished today, at last, after 6 months to the day, and 1,800 hours work. I'm feeling very, like I've had a baby, actually. It was a long labour, quite an exacting one. It took ages for the cervix to dilate. Stuck around 6 centimetres for hours and hours and hours and hours. And there was no oxytocin to take, so I had to wait and do acupuncture on myself, and eventually started pushing what I thought it was about 7 or 8 o'clock this morning, actually turned out to be about midday. So if I don't speak in the straightest of lines today, you'll forgive me, I hope. I trust. It's a good thing, really, because the less resistance there is from the kind of the self that one knows oneself as, with all the personal agendas and so on, the better for doing this, because what we're doing is connecting at soul level behind the personalities, behind these masks that we are obliged to wear for the world and for ourselves as well. There's what we would call the soul level, the part of us that is lives in the eternal dimension, so not in linear time. It's the part of us that's always been and always will be and always is. No matter the body comes and goes, the lifetimes come and go, there is this eternal part of us that just observes and bears witness to our life unfolding as it unfolds, presumably lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And all of it is just a big illusion. All of it is a fantastic interdimensional trick of the light, transdimensional trick of the light, affected by the great magician, the great conjurer, the Tao, who is not a person, of course, and it's not anything that we can really define or grok with the intellect. It's not actually something separate from us. Nothing is separate from it. It contains everything. It informs everything. It animates everything, and it animates and informs everyone. And everyone, in other words, is an expression of it, a manifestation of it. You are, I am, we all are. Now, we kid ourselves that that's not what we are in order to play the game of everyday life, to negotiate this illusion, this hall of mirrors. What is actually happening, though, when the front brain is quiet enough to allow you, the deeper consciousness, to appreciate it, is this eternal presence. And the game that we play with it, that we're obliged to play with it because it is playing the game with itself, this is the game of hide and seek with which it amuses itself, is that we are dancing with destiny. So we have our past, we have everything that we've come from, and our memories of it are only versions of, obviously, just a certain camera angle and lighting schema. But there's a sense of everything that's come before, all the infinite number of connections that we've made with other people, all the help that we've given people, all the help that people have given us, all the hindrance we've given people, the hindrance people have given us, and the lessons that we've learned, the growing that we've gone through, the pain, the pleasure, the triumphs, the disasters, all of it has led to here we are now. And then coming is destiny. Yet we don't, we assume that destiny is something that hasn't actually happened yet. And in the sense of this dimension that we live in, it hasn't. But from the eternal sense, it has already. And that's why we're able, when we do the work enough, to be intuitive, to have premonition, to clairvoyance, and so on and so forth. And I have many times have examples for myself where I can recall going somewhere, yearning for something as a child, not knowing why, a direction, a place to move towards, only to find later in life myself having a momentous occasion at that place I was yearning to go to. And it's as if the child in me knew this was coming and was just trying to get there, but it couldn't because it hadn't happened yet. That makes any sense. This sort of thing happens to me more and more. And today's theme is, because we're doing magic, and I love doing magic. I like the idea that we can play with destiny, we can dance with it, we can invite it, we can direct it, but only once we've embodied it. This is the Taoist concept, the template. We embody destiny rather than see it as something separate. And destiny is a big aspect of Tao. It's a big aspect of the big presence. It's like what hasn't yet manifested for us in this time-space lock that we're in. Once we embody it, we then are able to direct it. And this is interesting because it's the transcendence of being just sort of bounced around. And the way we do this is with intention and essentially opening up to the biggest and best and most beautiful and most wonderful that we possibly can, both in our output and input. And trying not to define it too rigidly, because that doesn't give the Tao space to perform properly. The more latitude, creative latitude we give it, the more it can show off to us, the more it can perform with the sort of infinite elegance that only it's capable of doing, and cause events to coalesce into a configuration, a constellation that will be most advantageous to us personally. But the Taoist practice is, when I say spiritual, I don't mean it's just because you do tarot cards or do aromatherapy, whatever it is that people think spiritual is, or talking to dead people. It's not that. I mean, it's the sense of being aware of the presence informing all of this, but it's also the most important part of any practice is the being kind to, firstly, yourself, because that's tricky. We're many of us, most of us, have been raised to be unkind to ourselves. We learned it from our parents, we learned it from their parents, we learned it from their parents, so on and so on and so on. And then from that place of being kind to the self, being kind to others, and the word kind has its derivation in kin, in other words, family. And what it implies is that everybody on the planet is a member of the human family, our human family. And we look after our family. That's what we do. It doesn't mean we don't like everybody in our family, for sure, we all know that. You don't have to like everybody. That would be ridiculous. And not everybody has to like you either, which is a big one, because we all spend a lot of energy trying to be liked all the time by everyone. It's not possible. Same as it's not possible to like everyone. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Liking, not liking makes no difference. But loving, in other words, being open to receive everyone at the soul level, and in the reception of everyone, simultaneously transmitting from the depths of the Tao within all the beauty and bounty and blessings and good wishes possible. And we are human, and I noticed it was very interesting. Around at Jaguars a couple of days ago, and Dr. Dre, a hip-hop guy, it's just, as you probably knows, his Beats headphone company and streaming service has just been bought by Apple for $3.2 billion. And he's the first, he gets over $1 billion. He's the first hip-hop billionaire. And it's a beautiful story because he's a bit younger than me. He came from, I think it was the projects. He was really, really poor, came from nothing. And became this. All he had to do really was say, yes, it's a great idea, the headphone thing. And bang, there he is. And as he told me that, there was a flash, a millisecond of this envy, of which came from, oh, I want that, I want to do that, oh, why can't I be that, oh, that's not fair. It was really a split second until I went, oh, bless you, what a beautiful story, how lovely for you, how gorgeous for you. It doesn't matter whether you've got $1 billion or you've got nothing. This is, being here is the gift. The rest of it is just, the flavouring, if you like, the colouring, the decoration. And it's really special that when you can do that, and you think, oh, how lovely for you. Yeah, a beautiful story. What a beautiful fairy story for you. And it's this wishing everyone well that makes us expand from the heart. If one were to go the other way, the empty way, which comes from feeling inadequate, essentially, a misguided belief in inadequacy, it just closes everything down and traps you in slavery, really. Competition, anxiety, comparing yourself, and so on. When the genuine, from the heart, not in denial of the weak side that could go the other way, but from the heart, being open to everyone and wishing the best for everyone in the family, somehow or other it implies that the family's going to look after us anyway. You know, if we're looking after the family looks after us. And it doesn't have to be in specific ways. It just has to be with intention, the intention to be open, to be loving, for me to be a good brother to everybody, for you to be a good brother, a good sister to everybody. It doesn't mean being nice. Nice is an act. It's not about nice. It's about kind. It's just having the empathy for the other, knowing that everyone is suffering. Everyone is suffering. Being human is suffering, but also capable of such joy as well. And this awareness elicits empathy, which elicits compassion, and the wish for everyone just to have the very, very best, for people who've gone wrong, rather than being filled with schadenfreude, to wish for them to come right and everything to work for them. We're just wishing the best for everybody. And the personal gain, not this is why you would do it, but the personal gain that comes from that is this. We're doing magic, as I was saying, and that means that we're with intention triggering an expanded experience of what's on offer. And when we do this, the intention goes in somehow or other into the heart of the machine and gets processed, and in time, in the fullness of time, a manifestation occurs. It always does. And think about it. Whatever it is you want to manifest, whatever it is that you want in your life, will come to you via the agency of other people. There's no way it can't do. I can think of very few things that wouldn't involve, I can't actually think of anything that wouldn't involve some people somewhere along the line needing people to deliver for you whatever it is you want. Now, they're not doing it to do you a favor. People deliver because the Tao impels them to, the Tao within them impels them to, because that's how it works from the subatomic level outwards. People, without realizing it, find themselves in certain places, certain times. Perhaps you catch yourself in the supermarket at cash there, waiting to pay, and you give somebody a smile who's looking at, you have a heart-to-heart moment, you smile, and that can save their life. It really can. They might be on the verge of topping themselves, and that one smile can give them the faith to carry on. And you didn't go there on purpose to smile at them. That's just what happened because that's the way you were rolling that day. And that's how it works. Now, when you are able to transmit from the soul level this love, this kindred love, it seems to serve as a lubricant that encourages a greater, smoother flow, naturally, of inbound blessings. The more love that you can kind of embrace everyone with, the more love comes back to you through people bringing you the news, the connections, the opportunities, and so on. Now, that's, I say, not why we do it, but that's what the benefit personally will be from today's session in this opening to all humanity. And also, it's not just humanity, it's the ancestors of everybody. That's forever and ever. And it's all the guardian spirits around everybody. It's all the guiding spirits around everybody. It's all the different entities on every different level, every different dimension throughout time and space and beyond time and space that takes us into what in the West we would term maybe the angelic realm, because when you go in, it goes all the way to angel, then archangel, according to the Western way of classifying it all, until eventually it all disappears and becomes the one, because that's what really that's all there really is. And so what we're going to be doing today is connecting in through ourselves and together, therefore engendering synergy, into the one presence informing all of us, where we will then transmit our intention and then perform a little ritual, a little maneuver to open the heart in a specific way to be able to receive all humanity at a soul level. Now, people are afraid of this because it means perhaps that you'll be plundered, if you like. Your soul will be plundered, but it's not true. By opening yourself to receive at soul level, you actually have greater protection than at any other time, because the local self is seen to be a chimera, an illusion. And as soon as that's the case, there's nothing to be attacked. And when there's nothing to be attacked, there's no one to attack it. And that's how you transcend that realm, the sort of hungry ghost realm. As I said, there's a danger I might lose my thread halfway through a sentence. Like when you've got sleep deprivation, it does do that a little bit. But I am doing my damnedest not to. And by doing this opening of the heart in this specific way today, this will probably make us all feel individually and collectively rather swell. And the result of this will be something beautiful occurring. Now, the way I see the magic working, and I know it's working for the people who attend because I get a lot of feedback, but I also see it in myself as well. This stuff definitely works. I know it works. It's worked for me for as long as I've been doing it, for however many decades it is. And definitely on an individual level, but I've noticed that whenever I held groups and of any kind, virtual or in real life, well, this is real, isn't it? But you know what I'm saying. There is always an exponential increase of the power that's behind the manifestation. Things happen in a big way, and these sessions are definitely doing that. And when the magic happens, which it inevitably does, it often does so in a most circuitous, unexpected way. It seems to have a keen sense of dramaturgic elegance. It loves to give dynamics to the story. If it was all just yes, 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 you can have it, here you go, isn't it lovely, isn't it wonderful, it would be too sweet, too anodyne. There'd be no sour. You have to have the sour with the sweet, the yin and the yang, because otherwise it just becomes congealed. So there has to be dynamics to the story. There has to be is the hero going to make it or not? And I've noticed that it does take you through the most bizarre twists and turns, and it's always at the moment where you feel like you've been wanged out right off the path that you're actually swung right back into the gift that you're after. And that, I will say, is what's going to be the effect of this, is that there'll be an increase, an acceleration, an amplification, intensification of the process of you manifesting this next quantum leap in your, or a quantum expansion in your sphere of experience and activity and influence. And it will be beautiful, and it doesn't matter, is the other thing. It doesn't matter, because being here right now is what matters. This is the gift. Being here is the gift. Being alive, having consciousness, having energy, having a body to experience it in. This is the gift of all gifts. Everything else, what you manifest or don't manifest, how sweet it all is, how not, what lovely views you have or how ugly they are, or how rich you are, how poor you are, how well you are, how ill you are, how beautiful you are, how ugly you are, whatever. It's just the coloration. It's just the texture, the taste of it all, the flavour. The gift itself, though, is being here. And it's really important to approach any magical operation, so to speak, with this being utterly satisfied, being where you are. In other words, the biggest wish is for everything to be as it is. From that, loving it as it is, the pain as well as the pleasure, the acceptance of the yin and the yang, the accommodation of both, brings us an innate joyfulness, which is what we have at our base anyway. And from this love of life, comes the flow, the increase of the velocity of the flow of inbound blessings. But I don't want to encourage us to be in an egocentric mode. Today especially, this is for us to offer ourselves in service. And the more cleanly and freely we each do this now, as we sit in our numbers around the planet together, which is a miracle in itself, isn't it? Welcome, by the way. It's lovely to be with you. Now I forgot what I was going to say. That's more important, isn't it? But being here together, fuck it, I can't remember what I was going to say. No, it's it, isn't it? Being here together. Let's start. So we're here together, all of us, but there's also all of everybody else on the planet. We're all here together. We just happen to be the representatives. Let's see ourselves as the representatives of all the human family now. Not the only ones, of course, but we are these ones. And it's our, it behooves us to offer ourselves in service to all of our human family now, and to the presence informing all of it, and to all the non-human family as well, to both purify the warp and the weft of existence, and also to refine it for ourselves and for everybody. So by purifying it of all that no longer is necessary, all that is blocking, all that is smelly, all that is stuck, and then refining, polishing it, making it sparkle, making it pure, clean, beautiful, making it sing in its essence, it responds in kind by bringing us much purer, more straight, clear rewards, and of a lot more of a refined nature, less crude, less rough. And I think we all can resonate with that nicely. Well, I can't talk for you, but I can. So if you're ready, this will be the time to kick off your shoes, loosen your collar, let your hair down, and close your eyes. If you want to keep them open, there's some lovely slides on the computer, but I would really recommend closing the eyes. It's easier to concentrate. Sitting is best, back against a comfortable chair. Lying down a little bit dangerous because it encourages slumber, which we don't want. And try and stay alert and awake for this. Not try, just do, choose to. And take a reading of your state as you are right now. Become aware. Firstly, I want to focus on the negative, the stress in your body. You notice it in your belly. Like when you think of all the stuff you've got to do, when you think of all the money that you probably owe, when you think of all the pressures that you've got, when you think of all the people you've got to please, when you think of all the stuff you've got to do, when you think of dying and all the shit that can happen on the way. Just think of the stress, feel the stress. Now, where is the stress? See how it's affecting you. Where is it? In the upper abdominal area, in the throat, around the eyes, around the mouth, the jaw, back of the head, around the ears, the arms, the shoulders, the legs, the hips, everywhere. The stress in there is deep, it's deep, it's deep. Everyone has it. We need a certain degree, we just fall apart. Become aware of it though. Feel it in the body. And ask yourself, do I want to carry this now, or do I want to let it go? Do I want to attenuate it a little bit? And if that is the answer, then start to breathe more slowly and evenly. Let the in-breath and out-breath be of equal length. And let the breath be silken in its quality, smooth and refined. Exquisite as the ultimate elixir of life that it is. Notice your mind corresponds immediately by becoming softer and more silken, slow. And give the command to your body, to your muscles, to soften now. Let all the muscles of the body let go. Tell them all, okay, muscles, all my muscles, come, just relax, soften. It's okay, you're safe now. Just for a moment, just let it all go. And imagine, if you like, that someone's pouring the kind of golden elixir of relaxation over the crown of your head, and it's pouring through your body, and wherever it goes, it's causing softness, like treacle with a special magic agent in it that just causes everything to soften. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong when you're soft, because in the blood the energy can flow better. To enable this without collapsing, focus on the skeletal structure, which is really where you get your main strength from, much more powerful than the muscles. And firstly, the spine, which is the most important bit of the structure of the body. Feel it elongate. Imagine someone lifting the crown of your head towards the sky, as if by an invisible thread, and giving length to the whole of your spinal column. And notice that as you do lengthen your spine, you immediately feel lighter in the mind. Let the back of the neck be long, let the chin drop slightly. Raise the breastbone a little bit, and this will become more significant in a minute. Drop the shoulders and let the shoulder girdle broaden. Then let all the weight of your head and your neck and your shoulders and thorax drop down below the level of your navel, so that your pelvic area and your legs feel full and heavy, rooted, grounded, solid, while the upper part of you feels light and free and airy and boundless. Now become aware that you have the choice, the option of being in the front of your body exclusively and in the front of your brain, which is where most people spend most of their time, enthralled by the play of light and sound going on around you, sensations, and the reaction to it all. Or you can be in the back of your body, and when you're in the back of your body, which is an unfamiliar place to most people, you also have command of the front of your body. So that rather than just being half a person from front to back, you're a full person from front to back. There's a lot more of you. And the back is especially important to sit in because it's the repository of strength and stillness and power. So where the power of the body comes from. Now you'll notice if you lean back inside that everything becomes bigger. You become bigger. You feel more present. The noise in the front of the body of the emotions and stress that we were talking about a moment ago has subsided. And if you let your mind drift backwards into the back of the skull so that it's sitting in the cerebellum, in the rear brain, gazing out from there, you'll notice that the normal noise in the front of the brain has ceased. So you're now in a state of meditation. You're now in a state of transcendence. Of preferences, in other words. You're no longer kind of held sway by things being sweet or sour. It doesn't matter. Whichever way it goes, it's beautiful to be here. It's just a gift. And this is something you can now appreciate because you're in the back as the witness bearer, as the background presence. Behind you is the rest of the iceberg, of which you're the mere tip. The Tao, the presence, the great eternal presence, is what you actually are, and that's what's behind you. That's what's informing you. I say behind, I don't mean spatially speaking. And to preclude the possibility of closing off, of becoming aloof by doing this, we now are going to open up the heart by visualizing the two halves of the breastplate opening like a pair of sliding doors. However, and no, actually before however, as you do this, see in the very core of your chest, but in front of you here, a cluster, a very beautifully configured cluster of precious stones, jewels, surrounded by beautiful mythical flowers, emitting a subtle but palpable glow of golden rose light, and a fragrance so sweet and perfect that no perfumer in the universe could match it. This is the sweet radiance of your soul that emits from the heart center and radiates ubiquitously all the way around you forever and ever and ever. Now, simultaneously facilitating an inbound flow, likewise, from all sentient beings, whether they know they're transmitting or not. Now here comes the interesting part. In terms of receiving humanity at a soul level, here's the trick. Focus at the top of your chest, about a plum's distance down or so from the notch at the base of your throat. It's behind the center of the breastbone, the thymus gland area. Now if you focus on this and get a sense of this area urging itself diagonally upwards, as if kind of drawing you forwards and upwards at the same time, causing you to rise up to all that is beautiful within and around you. What this does is it's like lifting the hood of the heart center. So by urging the thymus forwards and upwards, it sort of opens the cave, if you like. It opens the entrance of the heart in a much more powerful way than if you were just doing it with the door sliding thing. So now by focusing and staying focused, stay focused on the thymus in the top of the chest. It's a magic key. It elevates to the next stage when we do this. And become aware, as you do, with your heart open, that we're all sitting here together, back inside ourselves, all of us around the world, different faces, different expressions of the same presence, the Tao. The Tao loves each of us, and each of us love each other on behalf of the Tao, and that completes the circuit, and that's what causes the magic to happen. Allow the essence of everyone in this circle to be received by your soul now. So receive everybody from the back of you through the open heart. And you're not receiving the personality. You're not receiving the character, good, bad, whatever. You're not receiving that. You're receiving the pure radiance of the soul of everyone. And as you do this, it's like you're accommodating, like the Big Mother, you're accommodating all of humanity in your own heart. And there's all, the estimates are actually closer to 10 billion people on the planet. They say officially 7+ billion, but it's probably closer to 10 billion people on this planet. A lot of people. And we're now opening to the essence of absolutely everyone, 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 without exception. Doesn't matter how evil seeming or how magnificent seeming, how important or unimportant, no matter who they are, everyone is an expression of the divine. Everyone is an expression of Tao. And we're now opening to everybody, everybody. And it's as if we're holding all of humanity in the midst of our circle. So you can see it's in a huge circle, like a group of very beautiful angels holding hands all the way around. We're actually around the planet, but holding hands in a large circle. And in our midst, somehow, is all the billions and billions and billions of people. And all the other entities throughout existence somehow are in our presence. And with the heart open, the thymus lifting, the heart area, and the soul now receiving. This is the thing. It's not about giving this. It's about receiving. Allow yourself to really receive everyone. The guest in your house, the family. Receive everyone. So it's like coming back, inside, back into the back, and receive everyone through the heart center. And you can see it's a very, very, very beautiful feeling, holding all of humanity like this. And without having to think it, it's so clear that love wants to heal. Love just wants to envelop and heal and soothe and bring joy to everybody, to dispel all the suffering right now. So visualize, as you do, if you like visualizing along with this, the sparkling essence that we're collectively radiating, moving across the face of the earth in every direction, like a fine vapor healing everyone, wherever it goes. Every baby, every child, every adult, every old person, every man, every woman, everyone, everyone is being bathed in this. And it is difficult to accommodate the fact that life is quite tough in the world and that people can be brutal. But behind that is this beautiful soul. Behind that is the Tao. So we're reaching all the way to that. We're connecting all the way to presence in everyone on the planet. And allow the smile from all the way down in your pelvic floor to travel up and inform this. So that what you're actually transmitting is the innermost smile of joy to everybody. And visualize a circling motion of chi in a clockwise circle, spinning round and round and round and round all of humanity, bathing everyone in this healing power, just purely selflessly bathing everyone in this healing power, and see people light up and smile one by one by one by one all the way around the planet, as if everyone's just suddenly waking up and smiling and remembering for a moment who and what they are, with gratitude to someone somewhere for this feeling they've got. And know that as you are in the center of an infinite series of concentric circles, and as they get bigger they encompass more and more of the stuff that you want, rather than thinking of it as a straight line of moving from point A to B, which is a very crude way of seeing everything. Expanding into your presence into the bigger circle is expanding into the experience of whatever those circles contain in them. And as you do this now, as you now open to see the picture of what it is you want in the midst of all this, it's quite clear that everyone's smiling at you. Everyone's eager to be the messenger, the delivery person for your particular set of blessings, the bits that they can bring. There's a sense of people wanting to bring you good joy, blessings, good news, wherewithal, whatever it is you need, opportunities, chances, all, whatever it is, love, whatever it is you're looking for. People want to bring it to you. You can see that. There's sort of an almost a slight benign restlessness occurring in people wanting just to give you. They just want to give you. So now in this state of being at one with all humanity, receiving everyone at the soul, and simultaneously transmitting to all humanity from the soul this love, this basic, simple, profound kindness, this caring for family. Allow yourself to intuit. It doesn't have to be clarified, it doesn't have to be defined, but just to intuit the space you want to move into, the expanded circle, the next circle along with it, the next two along, that contain, exponentially more of everything. And get a sense of, rather, so this is not straight line stuff, this is expanding into the circle. As you do, you're able to see or get a feeling or a flavor. Little things will come if you don't block them out of the center of the brain, little messages. You'll be able to see something, get a flavor of where it is, what does it smell like, what does it feel like. Just allow it to come. Just sit for a minute and let that happen. And as you see it, notice the front part of you with that kind of reaction that happens, that slightly desperate, oh, is this going to work? Oh, is this going to work? Can I really believe this? Just observe that. Don't do anything about it. That's in the front. But the back part of you, the eternal part, knows that it doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter. Being here is the gift. Meanwhile, the sense of embracing, of expanding out to the next circle, which is a quantum expansion, of course, is bringing you this. It's somehow merging you with it. It's so that you're growing large enough to encompass it. whatever it is, even if you're not seeing it clearly, if it's just a feeling, a flavour, and allow yourself to be comfortable now in the expanded circle. Allow yourself to be occupying more and therefore encompassing more. And this will include wherewithal. It will include whatever resources you need. It will include personnel, whichever people you need around you. It will include all the opportunities and the freedom and the joy that you want, that your soul craves and is entitled to. Feel it. Let it be nourishing you now, the essence of this now. And as you breathe in and out your love from the center of your chest, it's the feeling of what it is you're manifesting that you're breathing in and out. So you're sending the information in like every subatomic particle out forever and ever, and it's being received. And the Tao informing everyone is already, see this, it's shunting people into the right coalescence to facilitate the optimal delivery process for you and your gift that you're after. Feel it, see it, be it, embody it, encompass it. Now what we've just done is actually expanded out into destiny. So we've expanded ourselves into destiny, another big circle. So we've encompassed that much more of destiny. Now destiny, the aspect of Tao, is not our enemy trying to trick us and then eventually kill us. It's our friend. It loves us. Let destiny in as if it was a being, an angel, and turn it around so that it sits inside you, looking out through your eyes, using your sense organs, feeling your body from the inside. And you're now able to direct it. So direct your destiny, angel, to whatever it feels that you want to be taken to. And remember, it's not just the places or the things or the positions or the status, the people, the whatever. It's not that. It's the joy of knowing the presence in all of it. It's the joy of just rolling with the adventure. Because all that really matters is that we're here. And while we're here, we roll with the adventure, wherever it goes, wherever it goes. And everything else that comes is mere dressing. That's all it is. Wonderful dressing, sometimes horrible dressing, but mostly wonderful dressing, especially after these sessions. But dressing nonetheless, that's all it is. Being here is the gift. Hence, it doesn't matter. Nothing need be different, but it will be different. And the more we let it be wonderful as it is, the more it tends to shift anyway. I'm getting a whole flurry of faces in my mind. I'm sure they're all your faces. I'm actually getting now millions and then billions of just faces. I can just feel all of humanity all at once, and not just the living ones, but all that have been and all that are still to come. And I'm sharing it with you, inspiring you to see it too. And now let's make a wish together, an intention for this week, for the world. We don't have to spell it out. Just let's take a moment to formulate this wish, this intention for all humanity, a heartfelt one, because we're all in this together. And we do need each other to stay fairly level at the moment. And now make a wish for yourself. Just a simple, clear wish for just this week. Something, it can be a compound wish, it doesn't have to be just one thing. And from the back of you, know that you have everything that it takes, all the power required to fuel you to make this quantum leap. You already made it now. You've already made it. It's irreversible. All you have to do now is relax and roll with whichever way the wind wants to blow you, and everything you want will come to you. And this now is the moment to start to wriggle your toes and your fingers and your nose. I say this just because it gets the circulation going a bit. It sort of reminds you you have a body here. And bring yourself really dear into the body, into the body, into the body. But don't limit yourself. Remain huge, remain universal. This is just the bit of you that operates on the human plane that's in the body. And when you're ready to, open your eyes, and I certainly am right now, and we move into the question.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi. I couldn't go on longer. I've just noticed it's not that. I would have fallen asleep if I'd have gone anymore.
Do you know, that's so weird. The thought was formulating in my head that your voice is very soporific, and I wondered if you ever listened to yourself and felt sleepy.
No, not when I'm listening to myself.
Okay, we'll start with a couple of comments before we go into the questions. Ross just wanted to say, he said, I want to express how awesome it is that you never have a script, and even more so how you always bring the magic. Just want to show my gratitude.
Oh, that's so lovely of you, Ross. You're a lovely man, you are. I'm looking forward to meeting you one day. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I can't do the script thing because it's not real for me then. It becomes rote. I remember when I was young, like in my late 20s, early 30s, I was really fascinated by doing workshops. I really fancied the idea of workshops. And I got really good at it by the time I was about 33, something like that, 32. Really good. I remember doing one somewhere. It wasn't England, it was somewhere, a residential thing, and I was so slick. I got it down to such a fine art, and I was really following an internal script I'd kind of developed, somehow, and it was brilliant, and everyone really loved it, except for me. I kind of came out the end of it and thought, that was so fucking boring. It really was boring. It was just so boring, because it wasn't real. I mean, yeah, they got the information, sure, that's all good. That part's important, but there was no real love connection. There was no real soul connection. Nothing really happened there for me. And I only remember that one workshop specifically for that reason. Similarly, I remember once with one of the bands that I had, one of the band lineups, and we played it was sort of jazz funk phase I was in the 90s, mid-90s. Brilliant band. The young guys, absolute wizard players, and not bad myself. And it was really, really, really good night. Brilliant gig in the West End, Soho. And played it perfectly. It was note perfect. Every stop was bang on. Every cue was brilliant. It all worked. The audience loved it. And I have to say, I came out of there and just thought, wow, that was really boring. It was just so boring. And I find the less rehearsal, as long as there's an intention clear, the more magic is able to flow. The more the Tao is able to express itself, really. And that's why I can't operate off a script without it sounding really stiff and me ending up being bored by the end of it all. Yeah, thank you. You have to forgive me. I've got verbal diarrhea after being shoved in their headphones for it was nearly 6 months. So yeah, I'm out. I'm free. I'm free. Free.
Okay, well, let's get on to this question from Jen then.
Yeah.
Hi, Doc. It's easy to connect when I'm all zen. But when my CFS makes me grumpy and the physical side can be so intense, how? Thank you.
Well, like once we give things names, especially with the acronyms, they become an entity, and they know them really, but we see them as an entity, and it's not. There isn't really an entity called CFS. It's just a condition. It's a state of energy, an energetic kind of balance in the body at the time. And we have to start with where we are in that moment. So if the body and the mind feels very tired in that moment, you start with where you are there, with the tiniest bit of energy that you have. You don't force it, and just with that tiny bit of energy, you remind yourself it's beautiful to be alive. You remind yourself to go back into your back, to not get obsessed with the drama of who you are and all the rest, and then choose what you do want, which is presumably then to be with a bit of stamina and a bit of zest and a bit of energy, to motivation to move and do things. You visualize yourself doing that, And sure enough, it will happen within 24 hours to 48 hours, whatever it takes. Once the intention's set, that will then occur. And we could come up with all sorts of reasons. I could come up with the reason now that I've not slept really in 10 days more than 3 nights. And it's not fair. And like, I don't know, Friday, I had arranged to see my mum and my son and go out for dinner with them. And they just happened to have chosen a restaurant. It was one of these hugely noisy, horrible, noisy places where there's no fabric anywhere and all the sounds bouncing off them. Everyone's shouting louder and louder and louder because no one can hear each other. There's about 200 people, and it was so high-pitched, the sound. And I'd been working until 5 in the morning with sound, you know, like listening very carefully to music over and over and over and over and over. Had 3 hours sleep and had started again the next morning, and then driven to London, done it, and they walked into the and it was like, oh, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. This cannot be happening. No, this isn't fair. This can't be what's... There's a demon got into the mix here or something. Well, how come? This is awful. This is like evil. I can't do it. I actually, when I was younger, I'd have just gone like, fuck it, I'm not staying. But I love my mum so much, and like, you know, she's getting old, and I don't want, you know, every moment I can be with her, I do want to do, especially when I'm, you know, any of my kids are around. It's lovely. And so I didn't. I sat, and I put paper in my ears to block the sound a bit, and understood that it was actually perfectly what it was meant to be, because it diverted my flow from where I was going to go to come to the Highgate Egg where I am now. And it just so happens that Joe Pete, one of the guys that I do one of my music projects, not this current one, lives here, and he's a brilliant producer. And he said one tiny thing about a level or something that tripped me perfectly into the right flow to get the mixes finalised eventually. And that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And that's because of the torture for an hour or two in that place. It's, why am I telling you this? I don't know what's going on, aren't I? There was the reason for it. But anyway, there you go.
Well, Teresa says, congratulations on your musical achievement, Stephen, and thank you for a
Thank you.
lovely satsang despite your lack of sleep.
Yeah, thank you too for being here. Couldn't do it without you.
All right. This is from Grace. Today on Facebook, someone shared a photo of young girls and women in full burqas chained together being taken to marry men. And the article in a Pakistan newspaper was about Sharia laws stating not only there's no age limit for girls to be married, but that a husband can also choose whether or not his wife can continue to breathe. I hear all you say, but how can we bear these people, let alone love the Tao in them?
It's hard. It's really hard, because you've got to see past that awful, twisted, distorted disguise, in my opinion, to the presence inside of them as well. It's the only way you can heal these things. If we get fooled and stuck with the appearance of things, we will never heal anything. We have to see through that, because it is an illusion, a horrible one, and a very convincing one, but an illusion nonetheless. And behind that still is the Tao, and it's that we have to have the discipline for, to keep seeing that all the time, however nasty, however horrible. I don't know if it does. I was probably told this story. I went to Seoul in South Korea to do a couple of parties about a month ago or so, and after the gig in the green room in the club, happened to be sitting talking with the head of the Korean mafia. Now, in Korea, the mafia is really important. It's big. It's like the Yakuza, the Yakuza in Japan. It's very, very powerful, very organized, very institutionalized, and it's up there with the government, really. And this is the top dude, who's the man. And, you know, not really any different from a head of state in the sense that he orders people to kill people, just like heads of state do with armies and stuff. And very handsome guy, very, very, very handsome guy, about late 40s or so, built, beautifully built, really nicely turned out, spoke perfect American, and very urbane, charming man, very likable, could not like him, and scary, of course. And yeah, I see through this and to the presence in him. He sees me do that. We connect. He doesn't know who I am. in terms of this work. And we start talking, and I'm saying, asking him, when you kill, not kill, because I know he doesn't kill people himself, but when you give the order for people to be killed and stuff, do you find that hard to live with after? Is it difficult when you're like lying in bed at night and stuff? Do you ever think like, you know, he goes, look, man, you got your guys, you got their guys. So their guys shooting at your guys, or your guys shooting at their guys, and one of the others going to get killed. Who do you want to get killed? Your guys or their guys? Their guys, right? I go, well, yeah, of course. I understand that in the framework that you exist in the model that you subscribe to. We take all judgment away, we take all morals out of it, because none of us are to judge. You know, that's the way you do it, the same way as the way heads of state do it with armies and all the rest. You know, this is the way it is. That's the reality you live in. I appreciate that. It's not the one I live in. I don't have to, because you do. So somebody's doing it for me, if you like. You know, we're all capable of it, in other words. I don't have to. I have the privilege of not being that, because other people do it, if you like. And I said, you are really a beautiful man. You really are a great man. Because I felt it. I could see the presence in him. It was a lovely, beautiful man. Behind all the twists and the distortions and the stuff, this horrible look that was going on there, was this really beautiful soul. It was just a little boy, a 10-year-old boy, who'd never really blossomed in the way that the flower really wants to. And there was something about the connection when I said that made my eyes well up, and his too. It was the poignancy of somehow seeing past the disguise of even the head gangster to the beautiful soul within. And he knew what I was doing, and his eyes welled up with tears, and we sat looking at each other with tears in our eyes. The head of the Korean mafia. It was an amazing moment, and this girl that was sitting draped over somebody said, "Wow, you're really wise, aren't you?" And then somebody said, "Yeah, he's a famous guru." And then they all laughed. And I laughed too, because I didn't want to get into what I am at that point. Yeah, no, it's interesting. That's how we do it. But I'm right with you. I find the fact of people covering themselves up with, it just weirds me out. I find it so, but I'm learning to get through that. I am. I've been training myself. I used to really get the horrors when I saw it. Now I realise it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everyone is doing the best that they can. And this horrible aberration, this horrible twist and perversion of human nature, it's maybe better that it is coming out and being known about now, because at least that way we can start to heal it but this is the way to heal it. It's not to try and change it, it's to see to the presence within and speak to that in everybody. Speak to the down, not the sky. Speak to the downside, everyone, and go, come heal, heal, come on, let it go, let it love. And maybe, not maybe, definitely that will have an effect. It's the only thing we can do. You can't fight it. You can't fight darkness. All you can do is shine a light.
It reminds me of a quote from another guru, Neil Donald Walsh. There's no such thing as right and wrong. There's only what works and what does not work, given your model of the world.
Yes, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. And Rajneesh Osho, on that right and wrong thing, his thing was there's no right and wrong. All there is wise or foolish. I like that one too.
This question's from Helena. When do we sit in the belly and when do we sit in the centre of the brain? Can they both be done at the same time? Thanks, Helena.
Good question, Helena. Yes, no, this is something I was hoping to be kind of clear from what we were doing, is that you when you sit right back inside, you're occupying all of yourself at the same time. Your weight is sunk into the belly, so you're organized in the belly, you're grounded there, you're assembled in the lower part of the body. That's the place you move from. That's the point of organization that moves you. The awareness is leaning back in the back of the brain, and the love is flowing from the back of the heart area, and this all happens simultaneously. The Taoists call it the three burning spaces, or the three dantians, the three fields of heaven, and often depict deities in those areas, just to kind of give you a clue. And I can't remember their names, so I called them the fat controller in the belly, benefactor, as in Ben E factor in the heart, and watchful fox in the centre of the brain, in the rear of the brain. And they work for me. I mean, they're just ones I made up. You can call them anything, really matter. Just get a sense of these sort of aspects of self, the power centre in the belly. So there you sit down there. Simultaneously, you're sitting in your heart. That's the love centre. Simultaneously, you're sitting in the back of the brain. That's your consciousness centre. All three operating simultaneously, and then it becomes one. It's the three-in-one thing. It's the three-in-one thing that Christianity goes on about, but doesn't really explain.
This is from David. Hi Stephen, this is great, thank you. It's my first time. Any tips
Nice.
for getting into the back of the body? Thanks, this is wonderful.
Nice one, David. Yes, there are. Well, I have many. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it truly is the most powerful move I've ever learned. It's a traditional Taoist thing. It's the root of all the practice, specifically used in the martial arts and the Taoist boxing styles. When competing, you sit in your back because you're not afraid. Then you don't. The front doesn't seem to really exist anymore. This personality that we think we are doesn't hold sway anymore. So there isn't fear. You're one with your eternal self, so that you don't have fear of the body being hurt. And when there isn't the fear, there tends to be much greater skill and freedom in the way you respond. And plus, as well as which, mechanically, the back is where the strength is in the body. So when you deliver a punch or a kick or whatever, or you block or whatever, from the back, it will have the power and the weight of your whole body behind it. Whereas if you just do it from the front, you're relying on muscular strength, which is limited. And what else? There's more to it than that. But basically, if you visualize your shoulder blades, you visualize the front of your spine. And I'm not saying imagine, because they're not imaginary. You've got them inside of you. You visualize the rear pelvic bones and the rear sacral, the sacral bone, and you visualize the rear of the skull, and then you just lean back inside, like you're sitting back in a chair, like you lean back into your shoulder blades, front of your spine, back of the hips. You let your mind rest in the rear of your brain, like leaning your head back against the headrest. That's one of them. The other one is lengthening the spine with a little bit of gusto, so that the back of the neck feels, you can feel it, it's kind of strong and long. And that draws you back. And the other thing is I fly a lot on planes, and I love taking off. When the plane gathers speed on the runway, the G-force pushes you back, it thrusts you back in your seat. So you can kind of visualize yourself in a plane going really fast, being thrust back in the seat. And it's interesting because the way Taoist philosophy works is quite simplistic in a way. When you want to go, when you're going really fast, it thrusts you back further inside. Therefore, if you want to go really fast in your life, thrust back farther inside. They then go on to talk about the backward flowing motion. Well, yes, in the martial arts, they always say, listen behind you. Now, listening behind you is really important because it gets your sense organs aware of what's behind you, and that draws you back. So listening behind you is really good. And the flowing backwards thing is just, rather than just sit back, you actually keep flowing back and back and back and back and back and back and back. And the more back you go inside, the bigger you feel, because the presence is huge. And this sense of size is quite addictive, actually. So that helps to draw you back. In fact, I find that I need reminding a good few times a day to keep going into my back. But as the years go by, less and less do I need reminding. It's more the exception when I'm falling forwards into the front. So I don't know. There's no real kind of like definite thing to do. It's not difficult because it's a natural state for us. We've just got to basically unlearn this habit of being always forwards, like we're kind of leaning up against the windscreen when we're driving the car. Just sort of sit back and relax more with it. Hope that helps. Anyway, lovely to have you here, David. Thank you for coming. I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
Okay, we're through the questions now, Stephen, but I've got 4 comments I'd like to read out to you before we close.
Yeah.
The first one is from Malkit. As always, very relaxing and beautiful, Stephen. Thank you and very grateful to you.
Bless your heart.
Paul says, hi Doc, thank you. This is huge and beautiful. Thank you.
Nice, thank you, Paul.
Claire says, hi Barefoot Doctor, this is such a beautiful satsang. I felt like I was on a ride that wove in and out of itself in a graceful circle. There is such love here today from everyone. I really felt it. Thank you so much for helping me feel this today. You are wonderful. Lots of love from Claire Francis.
Oh, thanks, Claire. You read my, yeah, I've got tears in my eyes from that. Thank you.
Sieglinde says, thanks from Sieglinde as well. You're such a lovely universal and spiritual tour guide.
Thank you. That bit makes me like, you know, on the Canary Islands, so you have those kind of tour, whatever's, you know, the representatives, that's right, the tour reps. I'm the cosmic tour rep. Anyway, it's been really, really lovely being your rep today, everybody. Thank you very much, and I hope you had a great holiday. And I really look forward to seeing you next time. Come next week. It will be beautiful. Thank you. And thank you, Sue. It's been really lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Pip, pip.
They're all pain and suffering.